Jafar Fox, let's talk business. And let's turn it up a notch. It's your time to shine with Jafar Fox. It's all coming together. Just keep your eyes on God and tune in. And let's talk with Jafar Fox.
Hello, hello, hello. God bless you. God bless you. And thank you so much for joining and being a part of the Jafara Fox Show. Let's talk business. I am your host, Jafara Fox, and I am so excited on tonight. You are definitely in for a treat on tonight. So say hello, and let me know that you're here. Hello to my Facebook audience as well as YouTube. God bless you. God bless you. So guess what? I would like for you to share, say hello, and let me know and let us know that you're joining us on tonight. Hello, hello, and God bless you. You are definitely in for a treat. You don't want to miss. You don't want to miss Messiah Ramkissoon, poet and hip hop artist. So you all join in, say hello, send those hearts, and let us know that you're joining us. Put shared in the comments, because as I always say, thank you so much for sharing, because sharing is caring. So God bless you. God bless you. Put that shared in the comments. You don't want to miss the item that you'll receive for tonight. And I'm here Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I am the CEO of Jafara Fox Inc. I am a transformational and leadership coach and speaker. And so you can connect with me on my website, which is www.jafarafox.com. You can get all of the information. If you would like to book your consultation call, you can do that on my website. And then calling all entrepreneurs, if you would like to be a guest on the Jafara Fox Show, Let's Talk Business. It is free. I am so excited and honored to have you as a guest. So you can go to my website and complete that intake form. And then on my website, shop, share, support. I have some items on my website that I would love for you to be my walking billboard. So shop, share, support. And you can do that by going to my website. So God bless you. God bless you. Again, put shared in the comments so that your name can go in the drawing at the end of the show to win a t-shirt that says Black Fathers Are Necessary. And we know that Black fathers are necessary. So put shared in the comments. Say hello, and let me know that you're joining. Let's see who's joining us thus far. Yes, Queen, peace, love, power, strength, and light to all. Thank you so much, Queen. God bless you. Good evening, Brenda, my sister. God bless you. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part. I see my niece Kia is joining. Say hello, Kia. Say hello. God bless you. Thank you so much, Queen, for you sharing. So God bless you all, and thank you as well from a YouTube and Facebook. So I thank you. And so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and bring out our guest for tonight, my brother, my friend, peace and love, Messiah. God bless you.
Peace and love. God bless you too. Thank you.
Yes, I am so excited and honored to have you as a guest on tonight. Our connection and all of that stuff, briefly we'll, just disclose, I met a Messiah on a flight headed to Atlanta, and it was just awesome to speak with this man of God. It was just an amazing flight, and just so honored to be connected to him. He just has done such amazing things, and I'm just so proud of what it is that Messiah is doing. So with that, Messiah, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yes. Thank you, first of all, for having me. That was a great conversation, very inspirational flight. And it's an honor. The universe works in divine ways. So it's an honor to be here with you today. I'm from a place called Mayaro, a small village in the island of Trinidad. Grew up in, coming up in the 80s. in that neighborhood, you know, it was about community, it was about family, it was about, you know, foundation, about values. So I was blessed to really be able to come from a very authentic background. I moved to the United States of America at the age of 11. First moved to Maryland. Annapolis, Maryland was my first home. You know, I've been a writer since, you know, I could remember. I always loved creative expression. I always had a love for art, for music, for culture, and just a love for my people. You know, I always admired, you know, I wasn't the child who looked up to the gangsters. I always looked up to the revolutionaries. You know what I mean? I wanted to be like Muhammad Ali. I wanted to be like Malcolm X. I admired those guys, even though those are very big shoes to fill, you know, but at a very young age, those were my superheroes. And just coming from a Caribbean background, you know, I was exposed to, you know, old school reggae, you know, for my dad and, you know, my family members, and just the message in the music was very uplifting, very purposeful, very intentional. You know, those songwriters coming from Jamaica, coming from Trinidad, coming from different parts of the Caribbean, you know, those brothers were going through the struggle, but they were speaking life into it. You know what I mean? So that was my first introduction really to music, you know, to art. And coming to America, you know, like the movie, right? You know, it was, you know, I fell in love with hip hop. You know, I got introduced to hip hop, living on the East Coast. You know, there's so much diversity, especially, you know, growing up here in the 90s, you know, some of the realest and just most profound MCs laid a lot of foundation in that time. And I was just blessed to be a student, you know what I mean? The brothers in my neighborhood, you know, some of those artists, just great creatives all around. So, you know, I'm, as much as, you know, I've been blessed to inspire others, I myself am a student of the art. And I will say I'm, you know, honored and thankful to now be a conduit to be able to be a light and inspiration to others. So that's who I am in a nutshell. And, you know, I'm sure it's a lot that you may want to talk about, but yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. I mean, you are doing absolutely so many amazing things. I tell you all, I can't wait for you all to hear. The Spirit of Messiah is just so powerful. It's so encouraging, so uplifting. He's such an example to so many great men, prophetic. I mean, you name it. Just our experience was just so God ordained. It was just, it was really, really, really amazing. And so I'm just so excited and honored to be connected to Messiah. So you did talk a bit about your journey, you know, as a poet and a hip hop artist, and just where it came from. But tell us about you being a three-time, you are 3-time consecutive winner at the legendary Showtime at the Apollo.
Man, it was surreal, you know. I couldn't forecast that. You know, I loved Apollo at a young age as a show that, you know, had a lot of suspense to it because you wanted to see who would win, right? And the audience, it was very you know, inclusive in the sense that the audience determined the winner. So you know, growing up, I loved the show. I never knew I would be on it one day. And you know, I was in college at that time, in DC, going to Howard. And one of my friends who's a fellow artist, fellow MC, Jay Black, he reached out to me. He said, "Yo, Apollo is having an audition. You should go to it. They have an audition tomorrow." So I said, "You know what? I'm gonna go check it out." And so we got there, and there were hundreds of people already in line. And so at that time, you know, we were young college artists. You know what I mean? Hitting the streets, hitting the open mics, performing on campus. And so going to this audition, you know, I was like, if they call, they call. It's in my area. Why not do it, right? And so lo and behold, they reached out and said, "Hey, you know, we would like you to be a guest on the show." And a bunch of my friends now, you know, we came uptown to Harlem, and I was just blessed to be on. I didn't expect to win 3 times consecutively, but it was very humbling because so many greats passed through that show, some who are alive, some who are now ancestors. So that was very inspirational for me to walk on that stage and to just, you know, be a part of that legacy. And that this was a time where Harlem was a lot less gentrified. So the energy was a lot different in that audience. It was very raw. You know, my first time performing, my first show performing there was on a Saturday night. You know what I mean? Saturday nights were always the most lit, the most you know, energetic nights at the Apollo. And there were people there, you know, like I said, it was raw. You had to come out with the heart of a lion, because there were people there who came to boo anybody who wasn't their person, which increased the likelihood of their person winning, right? So you know, so I had to be able to adjust to that energy. And you know, I survived the Lions Den, but it was a beautiful experience. And especially, you know, what I did was something very different, because a lot of people were winning with music and doing covers of popular songs, you know, with musicians in the band and whatnot. But I just went with my voice as the only instrument, a cappella, for 90 seconds. And you know, I didn't know though that you had to perform the same piece on every episode. So I came through to share something different each show, and they were like, nah, same content. And I performed a piece called Sharika Was a Champ. And you know, I was about 21 at the time I did Apollo, but I wrote that piece when I was about 17 years old. And it was about a young woman getting knocked out by HIV. But you know, the story was very metaphoric, in the sense that I used boxing to convey it, you know, until the end when she got knocked out. And just a message to young women, young people. And yeah, it was a great experience. I would say one of my realest, most inspiring things that came of it. You know, so many people would stop me in places and like, yo, you that dude from Apollo? But one of the realest experiences I would say was when I came, I left college and came to visit my family, came back to New York. And I jumped in Brooklyn. You know, we had back then what you would call the dollar vans. Matter of fact, I didn't jump in the dollar van. I jumped in the back of a taxi, and this lady was driving the taxi with her daughter. Her daughter was riding shotgun, and her daughter kept looking back and saying, "Mommy, this looked like that guy from Apollo. It looked like that guy from Apollo." And you know, I'm staying quiet. I'm not saying anything, right? And so eventually, you know, when they got to my location, before I got out the taxi, you know, I'm hearing her talk to her mom the whole time, saying, you know, he was the guy who kept winning. And I was watching every episode, and she's telling her mom about the poem and how the poem impacted her. So right before I got out the taxi, I looked at them and I said, yeah, that was me. I was the guy from Apollo. And she said, I knew it. And her mother looked at me and said, I want to thank you so much for going on national TV and saying something to inspire my daughter in a positive way. She said, because I'm a single mother and I drive this taxi up and down Utica Avenue to provide for her. And she said, I'm very concerned about some of the influences. And, you know, she said, so I just want to thank you for going on national TV and saying something to impact my daughter in a healthy way. So there were moments like that were very just, you know, uplifting and inspirational that was attached to that Apollo, you know, that Apollo experience.
Wow, that's so awesome. And I tell you, still encouraging, impacting, making a difference, letting your light shine. You're a poet and being that hip hop artist. So if you're just now tuning in tonight, please share it in the comments. So thank you all so much for sharing the guests tonight. My brother, Messiah, he is a poet and a hip hop artist, you all. And as I said before, met on a flight headed from Chicago to Atlanta, and it just an amazing light. It was a great flight. We just had a great conversation. The energy was good. It was so positive. He is such a positive, encouraging, uplifting man, and it was just so refreshing, and just to just hear and see all of the great things that he's doing, and just to be connected. I'm just so honored and excited. So share it in the comments. Let's support my brother. He has so many amazing things that he's doing. So God bless you. Hi, First Lady. Thank you so much for joining. First Lady Dove, as well as Gail. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. I see you all joining in. Tag your friends, family, share. You know, this is a brother here who is doing some amazing things, you all. He is creating such an impact and a positive influence to so many. He's just inspiring and mentoring. And so share it in the comments so that you all can stay connected with him. You'll be able to win, as he has his shirt on that Black fathers are necessary. And we're going to get in. Yes, y'all see that? So Black fathers are necessary. So we want to ensure that we support him. He says, my season, I love your records. Absolutely. Yes. God bless you. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. And so, Messiah, I want you to talk about, you have done the Apollo, but then you toured with Grammy artists like Kelly Price and sharing stages with artists such as Janelle Monae, Styles P, David Banner, Chris Brown, and just countless of others. What and how did you get that opportunity to be able to tour with some amazing Grammy artists?
Yeah, touring with Kelly Price was really beautiful. Great experience. I think that was my first tour. Yeah, that was my first tour. And coming out of college, I think I may have been a senior at the time. And I got a call from this brother named Joey Harris. And I got to shout out Joey Harris. He's a brother who, worked deep in the music industry behind the scenes with, Beyonce and just a lot of the greats. And at that time, he was, doing a lot of stuff for Kelly Price as well behind the scenes and very connected. So he reached out saying, hey, man, Kelly Price is looking for a poet to go on tour with her. Will you be interested? And so I said, yeah, of course. So he said she's going to be in DC. At that time, I was living in DC. So he said she's going to be in DC. I'm going to set it up so you can meet with her. So Kelly and I met at the lobby of a hotel. She was with her manager at the time. And her manager pretty much said, they had spoken to 5 people seeking a poet for the tour. And 3 out of the 5 people referred my name. So Kelly pretty much was just straight to it. You know what I'm saying? And what was beautiful about this was that even though she had a background in R&B, and making more romantic music, she wanted to step out and do something different with a spiritual album, right? So she pretty much said to me, she said, the assignment is this. She said, I'm going to send you the songs, and I would love for you to write a piece that aligns with each song. And pretty much what she said was, I don't want you to open up. I want you on stage with me going back and forth. So we're going from poem to song, right? And so it was a great experience. We did Memphis, we did Chicago, we did DC, we did New York, we did Miami. Great experience. I learned a lot. Just watching the business behind the scenes, watching the way that she was moving, watching the way that she was monetizing. So it was a really great experience, and I thank her to this day for that.
That's so awesome. What I didn't share with you, Messiah, was that I went and had the opportunity myself to be connected with Kelly. And I went to Amsterdam, and we went to Los Angeles, and just a couple of places that she was touring the album that she did, where it was the one where they threw the car or something out of the window. I can't think of the song right now, but it's about probably like 2000 and maybe about 2005 or 6 is during that time. So truly, definitely a great experience of just going to Amsterdam and LA, watching the videos, watching how everything is put together. It was just definitely awesome. We connected in Atlanta when I lived in Atlanta. So something else we had, have in common with, just being, yeah, and so it was a great experience. So I can agree and attest to that. And so just having that opportunity was just amazing within itself, how God has just opened doors for you and gave you so many opportunities to share your gift as a poet and a hip hop artist. But one of the things as well that I love so much about you is tell us how you use your talents to inspire and mentor incarcerated youth from the DMV to Rikers.
Yeah, I mean, it started in the DMV. One of my brothers, I got to salute him, brother Troy X. He came home from doing time and, turned his life around, man, and made impact within his community. At that time, we were living in Maryland. And he saw what I was doing. I'm running around doing the art, performing and creating. And, he said, brother, you have a message, And so he told me, he said, you got a message and you got a voice, and those young people in these prisons need your voice. So I said, listen, man, I've been wanting to really connect with the prison population anyway. It's been a part of my calling. I just haven't tapped into it yet or know how to tap into it. So, he said, listen, I already have my own, nonprofit, and we already doing work in the jails. Come in with me. So I started going in as a poet. You know, he would go in with the speaking, public speaking, telling his story, his lived experience, and we had a great synergy. And that's where it started, you know, and other organizations began seeing that impact, began hearing about the work that we were doing in the jails, and began reaching out for us to continue that. And, you know, to trainings, you name it. So I was working with a lot of different organizations at that time, you know, going into jails to speak to youth. And, you know, a lot of these things we were doing, it was pro bono, just out the love, you know, for our people. And, you know, it led to me taking it on full time. And so for the last 11 years, I've been working with young people impacted by incarceration, mainly those here in New York City coming out of Rikers Island, and pretty much being the bridge between those young people. You know, I work with an organization called Youth Justice Network, and that's what we do. We pretty much serve as the bridge between those young people and whatever their needs are. It's not always a linear process. It's not a one size fits all when it comes to young people who are going through the struggle and are impacted. So it takes a lot of flexibility. It takes a lot of intense patience, right? Because not everything happens overnight, right? There are setbacks, you know, as much as people are there for the success stories, you know, there are also setbacks. There are hurdles, right? There's roller coasters in the journey. So, you know, those of us who sign up for this, we have to commit to everything that comes with it. But the blessing is the purpose. The blessing is that, you know, you're able to breathe life into someone and be able to be resourceful to someone, especially our youth, you know, those who come from communities and conditions that they were born into, but didn't ask to be born into, but they are now held responsible for their outcomes, right? And so I think a lot of the adult population has turned their backs and has been very neglectful in terms of how we have laid foundation for our youth. So I'm just doing my part, and I'm thankful too. I don't know what the future holds for me as far as next steps within this journey, but I know that it's always going to be attached to my purpose to be of service. And I love it in terms of, you know, seeing other young people now step up and rise and become those young leaders. You know, some of those who I've met in the jails, you know, who've been a part of my mentorship circles on Rikers Island. Some of them now working in the community and being assets to community and being a light to the community. So the message in the bottle is never give up on your people.
Amen. I love it. Love it. You know, the servant heart that you have truly is just an amazing thing, you guys, just to be just connected and to talk and to hear how Messiah has just been such a great impact with the young people, the ones that, you know, incarcerated and doing things and taking his gift, his talents to inspire and mentor the incarcerated. I just think is absolutely amazing. And just with that, so if you're wanting to book Messiah for your youth, things that you're having as a poet, as you know, the hip hop artist, to come to your ministry, your event, whatever it is, make sure his information is on the screen. So make sure you all connect with him so that he can come and be a part of that, to speak to our young people. And I just think it's absolutely amazing, because that is a population, as you talk about, that you have to be in for the long haul and continue to serve. And you are absolutely doing that. And when you have a servant's heart, you know, truly nothing but blessings is just continuing to overflow and will overtake you by having such an amazing servant heart. And so if you have not had the opportunity to share, put shared in the comments. So thank you all so much for sharing. Thank you for being a part of the Jafora Fox Show. Let's talk business. I am your host, Jafora Fox, and I am just so excited on tonight, this evening, to have the guest Messiah, who is my brother, my little brother, you know, my friend. I mean, he's just such an amazing young man who is doing some amazing things. So put shared in the comments and say hello and let us know that you're joining. Hi to Auntie Emma. Hi, Gail, my sister-in-law. Thank you. I see Esther Jackson joining. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all so much for joining and being a part. I see Chef Flavors on. He is doing some amazing things with his business. So I have to shout out them out of Memphis. So thank you all so much for joining and being a part. Don't forget to put share it in the comments, because we want to, I would like for you to share this, so that, thank you, Sharonda, for sharing. God bless you. Thank you for joining in, and just to share so that others can see this amazing man and what he's doing to help inspire and uplift and encourage our youth and our young people. You know, nowadays it is so tough. And as you talked about, you know, kids who didn't have a choice. They just was born into all of that. And so, you know, what do you do? And so, as you're doing, have to continue to keep serving and helping them. And with that, talk about how you continue to blaze trails for creatives as a catalyst within the culture.
Yeah, great question. How do I blaze trail? How have I been able to blaze trails for creatives? I say one of the things, I started an event years ago called Messiah and Friends. We would host it every month in art gallery spaces in DC and New York City. And we would bring together artists from different genres and just create space for artists to share their talent. And I would just use my platform, you know, in terms of, you know, my own supporters that would come out and expose them to different creatives within community. You know, and that also transitioned to some of what I'm currently doing in the jails. Years ago, I started doing a monthly open mic for young men incarcerated on Rikers Island. And so I would coach them before the show, prepare them for the show, give them a theme to write around every month. And I would give them some ground rules, right? We would say no cursing for the open mic. You know, let's do our best to not use language that disrespects women. You know what I'm saying? And while it doesn't mean that, you know, I would say never curse, but I wanted to challenge them to use language in a different way, to tap into their creative expression in a way that they probably never thought about, right? So we would also say that we're not glorifying evil at this open mic event in the jail, right? We're not glorifying death, we're not glorifying evil, but we also go tell our truths and be unapologetic about our truths, right? So we would create a monthly open mic and bring in a DJ and break bread with the young men. And so one month I said, you know what, let me go out to the women's facility and check out some of the work our staff was doing there. And it was a graduation event for the young women, solely separate from the open mic. This was a graduation for a program on Rikers Island, and each graduate could have up to 3 people show up to support them. And not one person showed up for any of these young women, right, at the jail. And so I realized that women who are incarcerated, although they're much smaller in population, are very much less supported than the men, right? When they would do these graduations for the men, it would always be a packed out floor of people coming to support the men. But at the women's facility, when I went, I see no one showed up to support these women. It was just my team and I, and we were sitting there singing songs, doing poetry, playing games, doing things to try to like engage them and, you know, created a community for them. But my heart dropped when I saw that. It was very disappointing. And I was thinking about what could I do to be of light to these women, even though I don't work in the women's facility. And I began doing a monthly open mic in the women's jail on Rikers Island and creating a monthly theme. And, you know, they would write around that theme. And it became like a healing circle. You know, these women would come down and they were so transparent about their truths. And also very supportive of each other within those spaces, right? And it just became very inspirational, something that I know needed to happen. And even though it came through me, I knew that it was a call from God. And so to this day, we still do the monthly open mic. I have a facilitator who she goes in weekly to coach the young women and prepare them for these monthly events on Rikers Island. So yeah, so as far as being able to blaze trails and give back, I'm always looking at just ways we could empower each other as a community, as a people. If I know that I could be a conduit to empowering you, I'm always happy to, you know.
That's awesome. I love it, love it, love it. You know, that's interesting to hear you say that there were no women there had to support them, and how the difference that you've seen where women are less supported than the men are in being incarcerated. And so, yeah, that is so truly, truly sad, but truly thankful that you have put together something so amazing to help them with being creative and being a catalyst, and taking your talent, your gifts as a poet and a hip hop artist, and just turning that into something and doing something amazing to serve others. And so, if you have not had the opportunity to share, put shared in the comments, and then say hello and let us know that you're joining us tonight. And I also see that is joining. I want to say hello to Martha Brown, who's joining, Judy Blue, who is joining with us tonight. Good evening. Good evening to you all. To my niece, Michelle. Thank you all so much for joining and tuning in to the Jafora Fox Show. Let's Talk Business. And hello to my Facebook audience as well as YouTube. So you can share from YouTube also. So put shared in the comments. You all put shared in the comments. And I see Messiah is going live as well from Instagram. So I have to shout out Instagram also. So Instagram, if you are viewing also, hello to you all from Instagram. So just say hello and joining in with us. Messiah's information is on the screen. So you all go and check him out, look over his information and see what it is that he's doing, and support what it is that he is doing. And if you can book him, his email address is as well showing on the screen. So thank you all so much for sharing and being a part of the Jafora Fox Show. And so, Messiah, talk about how public safety isn't just for people who wear neckties, and how our young people coming home also need public safety.
Yeah, I made a statement saying I spoke at the Congressional Caucus in Albany, New York. And when I spoke at the Congressional Caucus, I made a statement saying that public safety is not just for people who wear neckties. And, we have so many young people who come home and, intentionally commit to transformation, to change, to becoming a healthier being, whatever that may mean to their respective process based on where they're coming from and where they are in their journey. And so while that is a real thing, and the intention oftentimes is pure to come home and be a part of change, they sometimes relapse, not because they want to, because they come back to communities where they're pulled by negative forces based on previous beefs or problems they've had within community before becoming incarcerated. And so, it's really sad, when you speak to mothers who feel like jail is a safer place for their son than the community because of the issues that they have in community. And so when they come back, a lot of times they're committing to, like I said, a positive outcome, right? But, when you get back to that neighborhood, a lot of them don't want to carry a weapon, but they feel like they have to carry a weapon to protect themselves because no one else is stepping up to protect them as young people, right? And so they're committing to school and different programs, and sometimes they get caught with a weapon on their way to the program or leaving the program. And a lot of these things can be avoided if I think society really invested in the public safety of our community, like they do communities that, that we don't come from. And so I think the way that they look at public safety in our community is more so from a punitive lens, more so from a profiling lens, right? More so in a way that discomforts our community and creates a more of a gap and a divide between those who are supposed to be in our best interest to protect and serve. Creates a bigger gap between them and the community. So I think that what we're seeing now is that a lot of folks are realizing that I can't look for anyone to protect me. And so folks are rising up and saying, you know what, I'm going to create my own movement. And it's not all negative. And I have to salute a lot of the credible messengers, a lot of the brothers and sisters with lived experience who are now using their lived experience to impact positive change. One of my roles as a director of a project called Youth Reentry Network was to vet and find who those service providers are, who those credible people are to go into Rikers and provide weekly workshops as well as community services for our young people when they came home. And so I work with over 40 different organizations, 40 different grassroots organizations, might I add. A lot of these organizations were brothers and sisters who did a lot of time and came home and started their own movements and, you know, studied and built something from the ground up to now be a light and a lifeline to their neighborhoods and their communities. So, you know, it's a real thing when you talk about public safety, because while this work is rewarding and it's inspiring, you know, it's also very hurtful when, you know, you have young people who have positive intent and they get an early rest in peace. You know, they get an early funeral because of where they come from and conditions that they don't have the luxury to avoid, right? So, so I think it calls for a greater conversation from a community grassroots lens, but also from a legislative lens. You know, even from a law enforcement lens, right? It's really has to be assessed holistically.
Yep, that definitely makes sense to have other organizations step in to really help to make a difference. I could truly see how that's sad that could be to experience that. And so we have others coming in. Hi, Yvonne. Thank you so much for joining in. If you would put shared in the comments, don't forget to share, like, tag others in this Facebook Live. And so put shared in the comments. As I always say, thank you so much for sharing. Share, tag, send those hearts, and let us know that you're joining us. Truly an amazing interview with Messiah and all of the great work that he's doing, the work that not so many people really do, and how you continue to show up to help them, and how you have been consistent in helping them and helping them for the long haul, being the director of that youth reentry network. You know, that's definitely truly something that's needed to help one, so that they hopefully don't repeat it or return back. And it was just so sad to hear you say how a mother would feel like that her son is more safer, or her child is safer in being incarcerated than being out. And I know that has to be a work that is truly, truly on you, you know, can kind of be weighted really, really heavy. And so I thank you for your work that you're doing to help our young Black children, you know, Black and brown, and, you know, the disadvantaged. So if you want to connect with Messiah, his information is shown on the screen, Instagram, on Linktree, his email. If you want to book him for any events that you may have, make sure you reach out to him and connect with him. And so just want to welcome the guests that are still joining us in. To my sister, Kim Webb, thank you so much for joining. Put shared in the comments. Auntie Emma, thank you so much for sharing and in the comments. And Sharonda, thank you so much as well for sharing. So sharing is caring. So share this interview on your page and tag others and let them know about the Jafora Fox Show, the guests for tonight, which I am here every Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard time. So again, thank you for joining. And then also on the screen, you'll see at the top there is a QR code. So if you scan that QR code just with your cell phone, then you can take you directly to my website. So if you want to get more information about me, you can, you know, scan that QR code. You can also shop and all of the amazing things that I have on my website, which is www.jaforafox.com. So thank you all so much again for joining in on the Jafora Fox Show. And, you know, I just wanted to know, Messiah, your thoughts. Would you have your t-shirt on? Talk about just about the Black fathers are necessary and the work that you're doing to make sure that's promoted and what that looks like. So talk a bit about the Black fathers are necessary.
Yeah, I started this with a song. It was a song that I wrote called Black Fathers. I felt like it was a necessary conversation. Me spending over 15 years working in jails as a service provider, as a mentor, as a bridge for young people. I realized that a lot of the young people I work with don't know who their fathers are, don't have relationships with their fathers. It's a huge disconnect there for many of them. And the more you do this work, the more you become solution oriented. Right? The more you start thinking about how can you exceed beyond the problem and really tap into some solutions to bring change on a proactive front. not just a reactive front, even though the reactive work is also needed, right? But with this concept to write a song called Black Fathers, it was via one of my projects called The Eye of Freedom. And for everyone listening, you can check out my music on all platforms, The Eye of Freedom 1 as well as The Eye of Freedom 2. Those are two projects that I have up on digital platforms. So with The Eye of Freedom Volume 1, I wrote this record called Black Fathers. And in the chorus, it said, no need for fame, Black fathers are legendary. Watching He Got Game, coming from the hood, often misunderstood, but still Black fathers are necessary. Fighting the penitentiary as well as the cemetery. Only right I wrote a song made for my brothers. And whether or not you get along with your baby mothers, our babies love us, our babies need us. He just might be that Black father to baby Jesus, right? So that's the chorus of the record. And I wanted to ring a mantra within the Black community, you know, for us to also champion fatherhood, because it will make my day better, right? You know, it will make my day better as it relates to the work that I do with these young people to not have such a demographic who are fatherless, right? And imagine what that could look like if we shift the paradigm, because wherever the head goes, the body follows, right? So once you remove the head, which is the father, of course, the community is going to be dismantled. And this is not by accident, but this has been happening for a very long time. You know, emasculating our men, kicking our men out the home, the conditioning of men who don't see purpose in being a father, right? So we wanted to shift that narrative and also champion that there's so many men who are amazing fathers and they don't get the credit in the media, right? Oftentimes. And so, you know, with this movement, it's multi-pronged. When you talk about Black fathers are necessary, you know, people who connect with the brand, you know, it's a conversation starter. People who wear our merch wherever they go, people are having conversations with them about the shirt. And it was designed by a sister I went to Howard University with, the actual graphic design of the shirt. The colors really align with the message. So that's it. And you know, it's beyond a t-shirt. You know, like I said, it's a movement, it's a conversation, it's a seed that's being planted within community to push us forward in a healthier direction. And this is the new cool. You know what I'm saying? It's about making things like this cool within our community. You know what I mean? It's about us redefining what cool is for our children, for our young people, because you got to catch them from young. And that's the beauty of hip hop. That's the beauty of music. That's the beauty of culture. You know, hip hop is the most influential genre there is, right? And me being a voice within this genre, I know that I have to be mindful of the responsibility of my voice and be very strategic in how I use and leverage what God gave me. So I didn't initially forecast for this to be a t-shirt. It was just a song, and we did a music video for the song. For those of you who want to check it out, you can go on YouTube, put in Messiah Black Fathers. My full name is Messiah Ramkissoon, but you could put in Messiah Ramkissoon Black Fathers, and you'll find the music video for the Black Fathers record that later on resulted in the Black Fathers Are Necessary t-shirt and movement. And we also have an online store you can check out for those who want to buy our t-shirts, buy our hoodies, blackfathersarenecessary.com. And yeah, and so that's it. It's so much more I can say about it, but you know, to be continued.
Absolutely love it, love it, love it. I just think it's amazing, you all. So go and support the movement that Messiah has. It says, what are some specific avenues you use to champion young fathers? Is a question from one of the audience.
Yeah, mentorship is one. You know, I'm a mentor to many young fathers. Also empowering them, right? I think mentorship is a critical part, but our young people need tangible resources and support. So, for instance, I work with a young man who I met when he was 17 on Rikers. He's now a father of 3. When he came home, he started working at a construction site. And he really despised his job as a construction worker because his boss was very disrespectful on the construction site. And so for many people who come home with a criminal record, with a felony, you know, what's the the most popular thing you hear, go work construction, right? But like I said, he didn't like his job. It didn't work out too well for him because of the energy between him and his disrespectful supervisor. So he would come see me with his son in the stroller at the office, and he would say, Messiah, man, I really wish I was able to do this work and make a difference in my community. So I put him through our youth leadership program, and we hired him, and he's now on the front lines for the last 5 years, working and full-time 5 days a week and taking care of his children. And you know, I've been blessed to not only be a mentor, but to supervise and support him in certain areas, be that I brought him on the team. And he's now taking care of his children as a progressive father and will never look back to the streets, right? We just hired one of the young fathers I met 10 years ago when I started working with young people on Rikers Island, and we just hired him 2 weeks ago and gave him a job as a youth mentor for young people on probation, right? So it's about empowering, and you know, like I said, it's me on a t-shirt. It's what I would do. It's what I would do just because it's the right thing to do. And I think we all have a calling and a purpose that exceeds us in a non-selfish way. You know.
That's awesome. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. That is so amazing, Messiah, how you are just reaching and connecting. You know, that brother's life and his children's family will never be the same because of you giving him an opportunity, as you talked about empowerment and mentorship, resources and support. And that we all have a way in doing our part. So you all don't forget to go to his website. And as he said, it's just not about a t-shirt. You know, it is a movement, but we want to support what Messiah is doing because of the resources. He'll be able to do more things. And then you'll be his walking billboard to let people know that Black fathers are necessary. So be his walking billboard. Go to his website and connect with him and purchase the items that he have, and so that we can continue to spread this word to know that our Black fathers are absolutely necessary. And so if you haven't had the opportunity to share, put shared in the comments. So thank you so much in advance for sharing. I appreciate you sharing because, as I always say, sharing is caring. And so with that, Messiah, if you would please provide some final thoughts and encouraging words to the audience.
Yeah, I mean, you know, keep walking in purpose. You know, I would say that, you know, with whom much is given, much is required. Um, to whom much is given, much is required. And you know, when you say to whom much is given, it's not always about financial gain. It's the fact that we woke up this morning. If your limbs are moving, I think we all have a purpose in terms of being a light and an asset to our community. And so we have to make sure that we're very intentional about what we're putting forth into the universe, the thoughts that we're thinking, you know, how we're going about shaping existence based on the impact that we have on others. You know, if you see somebody, you may not always be able to help everyone, but you may be able to send a prayer their way. You may be able to send some positive energy their way, you know, or you may know someone else who can help that person, right? But I think we have to really be in the business of empowering others. And that's the only way we're going to rise as a collective. You know, this whole selfish, doggy dog, do for self, you know, God created enough land on the planet for all of us to coexist without having to take food out somebody else's mouth or worry about them taking food out your mouth. You know what I mean? So I feel like we all have to be very intentional about collectivism. You know, we once had a young man from China who interned for a summer, and at the end of his internship, he made a presentation. In his presentation, he stated that he realized that in the United States, it's a culture of individualism versus where he was from, where he saw it was a culture of collectivism, right? And so he said, even in the schools, the way the children sat, where he's from, everyone sat with their hands folded a certain way, right? And it's not so much about uniformity, right? But it's about saying that we got to be on the same page about how we moving if we gonna push forward as a culture, because the young people are looking, they're taking notes, right? And they're gonna implement what they see us do, right? We set the trends, like that song say. But what kind of trends are we setting? So that's my message to y'all. Salute.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you again, Messiah, for being a guest on the Jafar Fox Show. Just truly honored and excited to have you to share with the audience on tonight as you talk about walking in purpose and being intentional, letting our light shine, and being that great example that we need to be and that God has given each and every one of us. Responsibility to help and to give. You said it perfectly, that it's so much for everybody. There's enough for everybody. So again, on tonight, thank you so much for sharing with us on tonight. I appreciate you so much for being here. And then now we're going to do our Wheel of Names. So I thank all of you all who have shared, and you'll be able to win your Black Fathers Are Necessary t-shirt. And so we're going to pull up now the Wheel of Names that we have for tonight. Let's see who our winners are for tonight. Thank you all so much again for sharing. Let's see. Kim Mason Webb, God bless you, my dear sister, for being a winner. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Kim. So we'll do one more Wheel of Names for tonight. So congratulations, and I'll be in contact with you, Kim, to get your information so Messiah can send out your t-shirt. It looks like Queen is a winner for tonight. So God bless you. God bless you, Queen. Thank you so much. Congratulations to you, Queen, for sharing. Yes. So thank you. So congratulations to Kim Mason Webb, my beautiful sister and beautiful Queen. Thank you all so much, and each and every one of you all for joining in, for sharing. Don't forget to visit Messiah with his information. Purchase your t-shirt if you wasn't a winner tonight. The Black Fathers Are Necessary. His information is showing on the screen so that we can support him in the work, the awesome work that Messiah is doing. So again, God bless you all. Have an amazing night. My brother, I appreciate you so much. Yes. So God bless you all. Have an amazing night. God bless. I love you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes.
Jafar Fox, let's talk business. And let's turn it up a notch. It's your time to shine with Jafar.